Hello there my RPG lovers and welcome to yet another video about Outward. Like I said in the previous video, I'm going to cover this game in depth and you can expect a lot more guides, tips and possibly more streams. And I promise it's going to be a lot better than the previous one. I was extremely pissed off because YouTube didn't let me stream when I wanted, and when I finally managed to go live I was really tired. Anyway, before I turn this into some rant video, let's start talking about what really matters here. We're starting this series of videos about combat with some fundamentals that you should always keep in mind when you start a fight in Outward. Hopefully you learn there are a lot of factors that affects the combat in general, and if you straight up refuse to learn some basic rules about this combat system, you're gonna have a bad time. It's important to understand that Outward is not a game for everyone and it starts off really slowly. It doesn't hold your hand at all, but it will give you all the stuff you'll need to overcome any challenge that you'll face. First of all, the most important thing to know is how stamina works. Every attack, block, roll, some skills and running will consume this precious resource. And since Outward has survival mechanics, some negative effects from that system will directly hinder your stamina. The most common negative effect that you'll definitely see is reduced max stamina effect. This is directly coming from your tiredness level, which basically means the more you stay awake, the more max stamina you lose. The grey part of your stamina bar is indicating how much stamina you lost by not sleeping. There are some great and easy ways to increase your stamina with a couple of buffs and a skill you can get from a trainer in Monsoon. Sleeping in your house or any of the inns will give you a nice long lasting buff for stamina. Every tent that is better than the improvised bedroll will give your stamina a boost as well. There is nothing worse than feeling absolutely useless in combat when your stamina reaches zero. You don't have to watch your stamina all the time since your character will start to look like he's out of breath and you know that your stamina is low at that point. The only thing you can do is try and kite the opponent while waiting for some stamina to regenerate, and it won't regenerate fast. Try and make some stamina potions as well, or straight up buy them from the shop if you have enough silver. Moving on to the actual combat. We're gonna talk about some basic tips for different fight situations, some things that you should know about enemy AI behavior, combos and your positioning. I briefly mentioned some combo moves in the first general tips video and we're going to talk some more about that here. Every weapon type has its own combo by combining light and heavy attacks. No matter what weapon you decide to go for, be sure to get a feel of the heavy and light attack and how the combo works with that particular weapon type. Currently on this character my main weapon is a two-handed axe and I'll also use two-handed swords as well. The reason why I really love two-handed axe is the ability to combo two heavy attacks in a row. This is crazy good because one press of the strong attack equals 2 hits. The combo will use a lot of stamina though. As far as I'm aware, you can do this with other two-handed weapons, but bear in mind that I didn't test all weapon types. If you decide to go with a one-handed weapon, my advice would be to try and use the mace for a couple of reasons. They are slow, but they have the best impact damage and a really good 3-hit combo. If you start your combo with a light attack following with 2 heavy attacks in a row, your character will execute a really strong uppercut attack. I believe this move does additional damage, but I can't actually confirm this. Swords and axes also work quite differently. One-handed axe strong attack will execute 2 strikes, basically same as the two-handed axe. So again, you get 2 attacks by pressing only one button. Starting the combo with the light attack following with the strong attack is a really good and easy combination. Swords also have their benefits, like the regular strong attack that will do a stab animation. Light attack following with the strong attack will do a sideways strike. From all the combos, this one seems the weakest to me, but I didn't play around very long with this, and this doesn't mean that swords are bad by any means. I could go on and on about these mechanics, but it's for the best that you alone learn the rest of the combos and attacks in general. Hopefully this gave you a good idea of how attacks can be chained into a combo. Try to recognize when to use your light attack and when to use your heavy attack, or when to turn back and run. It sounds really simple and logical, but it's really important. When you start your attack animation you can't cancel it, which will leave you open and vulnerable if your timing was off. You won't be able to use your dodge when you start attacking, you can only dodge when the attack animation ends. So watch your animation closely and be ready to hit the dodge button as soon as it ends, because even if you didn't time your attack well, you'll have a chance for evading incoming damage. Even if you do time the attack properly, sometimes you'll exchange hits with the enemy, but you can usually trade that first blow because you'll have the chance to stagger the opponent faster, but only if you chain at least one more blow. This is because you'll be able to deplete impact resistance of your enemies faster. Impact resistance is the stat that you and your enemies have. It's really important if you plan to block attacks a lot. When the bar reaches 0, you or your enemy will hit the ground. Shields will give you a lot more impact resistance and you'll be able to block much more efficiently. Blocking is the safest way to approach the melee combat in Outward, so if you're having a tough time, get a shield. It's also advisable to pick up the shield charge skill from the trainer in the starting city. Of course, all of this is situational and it will depend on a couple of factors. How strong is the enemy and what stats and gear your character has. Since there is no experience in Outward and you don't have levels, the only way to make your character stronger is the skills you can learn and the gear you can find. Enemy AI has some predictable tricks that you can learn to use to your advantage. In this particular situation, I'm fighting a really tough beast called Wendigo. And this would also be a good time to tell you that almost every enemy that you'll fight in this game have some sort of charging attack from the distance, so the best way is to try and avoid this by dodging, and then you'll have the chance for the opening attack. You can also try and strafe away in this situation, but this requires a bit more precision and it can be really risky. I'll talk more about that in my advanced combat guide. Enemy AI can be really aggressive when they notice you from the distance, and they can close the gap between you and them faster than you would expect. You can try and sneak up on them, since sneaking is totally a viable option in this game. You'll see here from some examples. It can be janky sometimes, but it usually works as intended. You also can craft some potions that will help your sneak to be better. This is probably the best way to open a fight if you manage to pull it off. Your roll will not break if you sneak, so use that advantage as well. Ranged enemies like bandit archers and mages will try to shoot you while at distance, and when you get close, rangers will pull out their melee weapons while mages will use AoE spells, so watch out for that. I should also point out, if it's not obvious already, that you should not get greedy with your hits. If you manage to connect a couple of hits, back away and wait for your chance again. Because there will be situations when you think you won and you end up dying because you ran out of stamina and you were greedy. You could use some of that precious stamina for blocking, since blocking a hit don't cost as much as swinging a weapon. Speaking about swinging a weapon, try to keep the reach of your weapon on mind. Some attacks have really good range, while others require you to be really close. And like I said, run is also a viable option in some cases. There is much more to this combat system, and I save that for the advanced combat guide. Builds, skills and some specific things that will help you to learn how the melee combat works. It has a lot of depth, even though some people are claiming it to be clunky. I just think they didn't understand the core mechanics and all the stuff I mentioned above, but each to its own. I hope to see you in the next video, and before I go, I have to thank you guys for the awesome support I got in the past month or so. Also, special thanks to my first Patreon. Anyway, be sure to subscribe. My channel is based around RPGs in general, and if you're into those games, you'll definitely find something for you. All the links are in the description. See ya in the next one.